Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasambhati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati 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 Parasambhati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasambhati Bodhisvaha. Okay, the name of the Bodhisattva, who asked this question on the basis of which the third tenable Dharma related to the first two tenable Dharma is Bodhisattva Paramartha Samudgata. Bodhisattva Paramartha Samudgata. Paramartha Samudgata. Okay. Paramartha Samudgata or Paramartha Samudgata. So what were we discussing this morning?
Three types of natures.
Yes.
And the parallel table of distinguishing anything that comes
to mind in four categories, and on the other hand with the set of the three natures, how to correlate the two, right? Okay. So, and then we also left with one question. What's the question left with?
Then we matched, and then we have a list to which everyone is going to equate in which category.
Still there was one question.
Example of permanent phenomena.
Very good.
Other than reality.
Exactly. Example of permanent phenomena other than ultimate reality. So one example Dorji gave was
non-composite space.
Non-composite space. Okay.
There was one question in the group discussion. Can you explain that up now?
Yes, yes.
So related to that only is so when we are seeing the blue flower.
Blue flower or imaginary blue flower?
When we are seeing the imaginary blue flower, it's based on our mind seeing the imaginary blue flower. So the question was, then isn't that composite? And therefore isn't that impermanent? So how does the imaginary blue flower become a permanent phenomenon?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Okay. This is an extremely important point. Why we are dealing with these questions, which otherwise would be more like, say academic, the exercises. So where, say, in the universities, in the schools, in the colleges, you discuss these areas, but within such a short span of time, like 8 days, and then covering so many materials. How come that you get time to go into such detailed thing? Because this is so important. If you get this, there's a chance to get to emptiness. Without this, if we start with this question, then although we can speak about emptiness, but we cannot really get there. So emptiness means that everything exists. Let's say the movie that we are watching, the movie is not at all coming from the object. It's empty from the object. It's all coming from the subject. The movie does exist, but it exists from the subject, not at all from the object, empty from the object. Okay, so for this we have to know the... okay, before we go further, I like all of us to do one exercise. That is, just look at the other person sitting next to you very quickly. Look at the other person sitting next to you. It is not necessary that, only say, if I look at you, the other person look at me. Not necessary. I look at see, Neeraj can look at Audrey. Audrey can look at the Narimanji. Narimanji can look at me. It's not necessary that it should be only one way, right? Okay. Not necessarily two ways. Right? It can be one way is also fine. Okay. So in most cases we see that we are smiling. When you look at the other person, you are smiling at the other person. Okay, again look at the other person. See if you don't smile. Don't be too serious. Others also very serious. Okay, again you are smiling. Except during the mother and the daughter. Mother and daughter, they used to that, so that okay, otherwise they try to, they are either smiling or try to control the smile by being very stern, right? Okay, now the same person which made you smile, think of that person in your mind. Close your eyes and think of that person. Think of that person who made you smile. Okay, very good. Nobody's smiling now. Tell me, the same person when you actually saw made you smile, the same person when you visualized you did not smile. Why? Very quick. This is extremely important.
We saw that as real, and when we are imagining, we see that as not real.
Okay, so when you saw the person, you see it as real. When you visualizing it, you know that it's not real. Right? Okay, good. So there, in a way, what Nida is saying is that when you saw that as real means something objective. When you know that it's not real means it's coming from the subject. When you know that it's coming from the subject, right? Say the emotional stirs, emotional fluctuations start. When you see things as objective real, then the fluctuation starts to arise. Emotional fluctuations is the disturbance, mental disturbance. Mental disturbance is what? You want mental disturbance or mental peace? Peace. Mental peace. While you want mental peace, but mental disturbance happens means you don't have the freedom not to have the mental disturbance. So there's a loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is the greatest of the misery. Getting it? So from seeing things objectively real, then automatically it stirs you into emotional fluctuations. This emotional fluctuation is mental disturbance. Mental disturbance is loss of peace, loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. The moment you know that it's coming from a mind, it's not real, it's coming from a mind, mental fluctuation stops. You gain the freedom. Right? That is, so in actuality, everything is just as this imaginary person, that you visualize this person, then mental fluctuation stops. Likewise, everything that exists in this universe, they are just coming from a mind. They come from a mind, yet we don't see them as coming from a mind. When we don't see them as coming from a mind, they are bound to create turbulence in the mind. The moment we come to know that they are all coming from a mind, turbulence stops. Okay. So this correlation is very important. Correlation, what we said, is that the moment we see things which are real, the emotional stir, emotional fluctuation arises. Emotional fluctuation is mental disturbance. Mental disturbance is lack of peace, mental peace. Lack of peace is loss of freedom. I want peace, but I don't have the freedom to have peace. That is lack of freedom. Lack of freedom is the greatest of the misery. This is samsara. You're getting it? This is so important concept. So important concept. Once you gain conviction in this, it doesn't mean that you know this, you get this conviction, and then from tomorrow you are free from the mental turbulence. That's not true. Right? Once you gain this conviction, for example, it is like, say you are suffering from, how many of you have suffered from tuberculosis? 1, me, 2, anyone else? Okay, so let's say suffering from tuberculosis, then you try to look for, okay, I have some problem there, I've got some fever coming, loss of weight, loss of appetite. What is the problem? I don't know. I thought it's pneumonia. I take, the medicine for pneumonia. It doesn't help. Okay. And finally, the very expert doctor says that no, your problem is not pneumonia. It's bacterial problem. This is tuberculosis. Okay, now the illness is diagnosed, and then I got a medicine. Okay, is this a medicine for my problem? Isoniazid. What medicines? Okay. Rifampicin.
One more.
One more. Ethambutol.
Yes.
Okay. Ethambutol, isoniazid, rifampicin. So these medicines, right? These medicines, you got medicines. Are these my medicines? Are these medicine for my illness? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yes. If I take this medicine, my problem will be over?
Yes.
Yes. So I take today, and tomorrow it's the same problem. I still cough. So you told me that if I take this medicine, it'll be over. I took the medicine, but it's not over.
Not one day, there is a course.
Oh, it's not a one day, right? So you take it over and over, you repeat it. You getting it? Although this is the right medicine, but don't expect that this medicine will heal you in one day. That was just by discovering that all these problems are because of seeing things so objectively real, right? The moment you discover that, you get the medicine, right? And then from tomorrow, your mental turbulence doesn't happen. No. You have to take this medicine, the emptiness, over and over again. It's not just one day.
Right.
You have to take this over and over again. Then the power of the objectivity, seeing things objectively real, that will become reduced. That will become less. This is how we have to grow. This is known as gate, parasambhade, parasam. Not that gate bodhiswaha. It's gate, it's a slow process. So therefore, this is how we have to proceed through. With this in mind, it is so important for us, first of all, to get the medicine. Get the medicine, proper medicine. What is the proper medicine? From this mechanism, how when we look at the other person, seeing the other person as real, right, objectively real, then okay, I'm not smiling at this person, right? I look at the other person, and again invariably starts smiling. So you don't have to control, right? So this is how you see the object. Okay, if you're able to, can you imagine that if you able to see the same person in the light of the millions of atoms, is it true that this person is made of billions of atoms? True or not?
Yes.
If you're able to see the same person in the light of billions of atoms, will you smile?
No.
If you smile, it is time for you to go to mental hospital. By seeing the person as the atom, still you smile, really, something's wrong with you. You will not smile. You will not smile. Right? Whereas when you see the same person as the person is, then invariably you smile. Invariably it makes you smile. You don't have the choice. Right? So that is a mental fluctuation of emotions. That is stirred and that is triggered initially by seeing things as objectively real. You're getting it? When you see things objectively real, then the emotional stir, emotional turbulence starts. Emotional turbulence is what? Seeing objectively real, it makes the emotional turbulence. Emotional turbulences? Emotional turbulences? Mental disturbance. Mental disturbances, lack of freedom. Lack of freedom is misery. Don't forget it. These 5 points, right? 5 points. Okay, the first one is seeing things as objectively real. When you see things objectively real, then number 2, what happens? Emotional turbulence happens. Emotional turbulence is what? Mental disturbance. Mental disturbance is what? Loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. The greatest of the misery is loss of freedom.
And that is samsara.
That is samsara. You're getting it? It's beautiful. So if we know the concepts like this, right, then you say, wow, finally it's in my hand. Now I know how the samsara operates, how we can cut the samsara. I know now what is required. I have to know how things are objectively not there, how things are objectively empty. Once I know that things are empty of objective existence, then I have to practice it over and over again with the driving force of renunciation and compassion. Technically, Bodhichitta grounded in compassion, right? So that is, finally we say that this is what I should be practicing. And for that matter, so this wisdom must be very stable. Very stable. For that I have to have the shamanic practice as a ground. You're getting it? Then you see everything's coming together. And how fast do you want to go? Gade, how fast do you want to go? Slowly or fast? If possible, as fast as possible. For that, you have to expedite the path. To expedite the path, we have the Tantra. So from this we see that everything of what we study Buddhism, what we hear about Buddhism, they are all just connected to each other for one's own, following the path, gati, right? This is a so beautiful path, practice. Okay, so now what the point is that finally at hand, what we should be doing is to know how things are empty of objective existence. Same, okay, let me see. Okay, let's say this flower. If I say that this flower is, okay, this flower is mine, what does it imply?
Belongs to you.
It belongs to me. Or?
It's not mine.
Energy. yes, energy, yeah.
It's not mine. It belongs to
Okay,
you,
so when I say this is mine, in a way, it is another way of saying it is not yours. You getting it? Okay, yours, mine with respect to me is subject, and you with respect to me is object. So when I say that this is mine, it is subjective. When I say subjective, it is not objective. You getting it? So when I say everything is subjective, in a way you are saying nothing is objective. Nothing is objective. This word, nothing is objective, is known as emptiness of objectivity. Emptiness of objectivity is known as emptiness. So, the concept of emptiness. In Buddhism, the concept of emptiness. What is meant by concept of emptiness? That nothing exists objectively. Everything is empty of objective existence. For that matter, it doesn't mean that nothing exists. Right? With the concept of emptiness, does it mean that nothing exists? According to the concept of emptiness, does it mean that nothing exists? No, everything exists. Then how does it exist? How do they exist? They exist subjectively, not objectively. From the object is all empty. Things do exist, they exist subjectively. Okay, now for that we have to know how things exist subjectively. Right? Okay, how many of you are interested to know that? Okay, so we have to know how things exist subjectively. For that matter, this concept, what we are doing now, permanent, impermanent, that is of incredible relevance. You're getting it? Same, the impure nature. What are the three natures? Impure nature, adhikara nature, thoroughly nature. So impure nature means something impure by the subject. Impure, designated by the subject. You're getting it? So if you know this concept, then from there we will make the concept subtler all the time. Subtler to the extent that we can realize everything is imputed, everything is subjectively real. So now for the four schools. Vaibhashika? Okay, no. I'm not asking what the four schools are. Okay, the four schools.
We are ready.
Yeah, I can see that. Yes. Okay. The Vaibhashika is very much like Vaibhashika, so it is like climbing the steps. Right? Climbing steps. First step and the ground should be very similar. Ground and the first step should be very similar. Right? Vaibhashika and the ordinary people's thinking, they're very similar. So they don't talk about subjectivity. Ordinary people, when they speak about things, it must be something objectively, solidly real. This is how ordinary people think. Right? Vaibhashika, like this. Then Sauthantika, the moment you climb to Sauthantika, then the concept of subjectivity is introduced. That all the phenomena that exist, not all are subjective, but some are subjective. This is how the initial concept is introduced in South Tantra school, right? Vaibhashika is much more the ordinary people's thinking that everything is truly existing, everything is objectively real, right? South Tantra says, okay, there are something which exists from the mind, from the subject. They call this category as permanent phenomena. Those exist from the substance, impermanent. Those exist from the mind, permanent. This is how they distinguish. Okay. Now, how many of you have studied some concept of emptiness according to the Madhyamika? Raise hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So here, okay, tell me. How many things are there in my hand? Okay, speak your mind. Don't think that you're philosophers. Now speak your mind. Okay, how many things are there in my hand, left hand? Nothing is there. How many things are there in my hand? One. Okay, now how many things are there in my hand? Huh? Two. What are they? Rosary and the flower. 2. Are you sure 2? Not more? Okay. Right, louder. How many things are there? 2. Okay, maintain the volume, right? Maintain the volume. Okay, maintain the volume. Okay. So are these two, what are the 2 things that are in my hand? Mala and the flower. Are these 2 one or different? Different. The differentness, does it exist or not?
Yes.
That these 2 are different?
Yes.
It exists. It exists means it's also a phenomenon. Is it in my hand or outside my hand? So there are 3. The rose, mala and the difference. Difference also there. It's also
Difference is the nature.
No, it is existent, right? Is this a difference? No. Is this a difference? No. There's another one, right? There's a third one. So how many things are there? 2? 3, right? Okay.
It's not as visible as the 2 other objects.
Okay. So how many things are there? My question. My question is not how many visible things are there.
Visible too.
I did not ask you how many visible things are there. This is not my question. My question is how many things are there in my hand? 2 or 3?
2.
Some say 3. Those people who say 3, they don't go outside Vajradhatu. If you go Vajradhatu, people say that you're crazy. Right? There are only 2 things. Right? People say you're crazy. If you say 2, then you should maintain your volume. Volume is 2. Say louder. How many things are there? 2. Raise hand to so say 2 very loudly. Okay, what are the 2 things? Mala and the rosary. Nothing is there in my hand. The difference between 2 is not there in my hand. Hey, louder.
No.
It's not there.
No.
Difference, does it exist or not?
Yes.
It does its way, outside or inside?
Inside. Between the rose and the rose.
Yes, the difference. That difference between the rose and the mala, is that inside my the hand or outside my hand?
Inside your hand.
Inside. Yes, so there are 3 things.
No.
The difference is the
The
inherent part
difference
of
is
the...
in my perception.
No, I did not ask you. I asked you whether the difference is there. Whether the difference exists.
Actually, the difference is inherent in the nature of this
Yeah.
object.
Exactly.
Yes.
So therefore, she is there, inherently in my hand. Sorry?
It is not a different object.
Exactly, 100%. It's not different.
It's the nature.
There are
Different.
only 2 objects only.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are only 2 objects.
The difference between the 2, does it exist or not?
Difference is
Does
inherent in the
it-
nature of the
There are
object.
2 solid objects.
Does it exist or not?
Yeah, it does.
It does exist. Is this the one?
No. Nature.
No.
Yeah. It
This is difference. This is not difference
It is
is more
different from the
than
rosary.
no. Difference means at least 2 things. It is only one.
No,
Difference means
it's different from all others.
difference means difference. The phenomenon of difference. Two-ness. Two-ness is not one. You getting it? So this is not one. This is also not one. Right? But there's a difference. So this difference is not this one, not this one. But it does exist. There is the 3rd category. So there are three things, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, how to resolve it, right? So there is the paradox there. There's a problem there. There's a puzzle there. That there are two things. There are two things, right? Now we come to discover the difference between the two. There's also existent, right? And there's not this rosary, not this flower. It exists there in my hand. There should be three things. If there are three things, again, the people will say that something's wrong with you, right? So how to reconcile? If you say two things, you cannot avoid the reality that there's a third category also. If you say there are three things, again there's a problem. If you say two, there's a problem. So what's the answer? Hey, what's the answer?
It's all deceptive. There are nothing anywhere.
Okay. So for that matter, we have to know, say, how do ordinary people look at things and what's the reality. Ordinary people look at things, something which you call as visible, something which Vipinji said as something tangible, object, solid object. Ordinary people, they want something substance. You're getting it? To say something is there, ordinary people looking for substance. Those things which are made of substance, they are known as impermanent phenomena. And then the difference, it is not there's a substance. It's not there's a substance, but it does exist. Not from the substance. If not from the substance, then from the mind. From the mind. So the difference is a phenomenon which comes from the mind, which the ordinary people are not aware of. They only speak about the substance. They don't speak about what's coming from the mind. What's coming from the mind is discussed by the philosophers and the logicians. You're getting it? Yet this is reality. We cannot deny this reality. So this reality, that things come, the difference coming from the mind, this is what Southern school discovers. So that is coming from the mind. Mind is subject or object? Subject. So Southern school, they say that there's something exists from the mind, something exists from the subject, not always objective. So some degree of subjectivity is introduced by the Southern school. You getting it? Okay. So what is all coming from the mind? What is all coming from the mind? What is all coming from the mind? Say impure. These are known as the impurity nature. Impurity nature. So how many impurity nature are there? Two. What are they?
Non-existence and permanent phenomena.
Non-existent, all non-existent things and the permanent phenomena other than thoroughly established nature. The two or innumerable things which fall under these two categories, right? Okay, very good. Now, from this what we have learned is that so now say that one is the flower, for example, this is substance. You getting it? Substance. Substance as opposed to coming from the mind. What's coming from the mind, we call it, what's coming from the mind, in loose sense. What's coming from the mind, we call it not truly existent. Imputed things. Imputed by the mind. Imputed means not truly existent. Okay, so tell me, of the three natures, what exists truly? What exists? What exists? Thoroughly established?
Yes.
Other-powered? This rosary, this rose exists truly or not?
No.
This exists from substance? So what comes from substance, we call it truly existent. And what is thoroughly established, also truly existent. What is imputed, coming from the mind, this is not truly existent. Truly as opposed to imputation. Truly as opposed to imputation. You're getting it? Okay. If you feel a little confused, don't give up. Right? This confusion, we lived with this confusion since time immemorial till coming to Vajradadu. Now it is time for us to say no to this confusion, right? Even though it is a little difficult, still say no, right? Try to study, and you have the capacity to understand it, to realize it. You getting it? Never give in. So what I would say is that say true as opposed to imputation. truly existent as opposed to imputation. Of the three natures, what are the three natures? Imputed nature, other power nature, thoroughly established nature. Only the first one, imputed, does not exist truly. The remaining two exist truly. You're getting it? Truly. Okay. Okay, I will explain. So other power nature means impermanent phenomena. Any impermanent phenomena should have substance. All impermanent phenomena should have substance, right? Like the rose, the house, the trees, they have the substance. What has substance? They exist by the power of the other causes, other powered. Anything which has a substance exists by the power of other causes, other powered. Right? Okay. Now, of the three natures, what exists truly? What exists truly?
Other power nature.
Thoroughly established nature and other power nature. What does not exist truly? Imputed nature does not exist truly. Okay. You got it? You got it? What did you get? What did you get? Tell me.
Other power nature
Other power nature exists truly. Thoroughly established nature exists truly. Imputed nature does not exist truly. Why the imputed nature does not exist truly?
Because it's coming from the mind.
Because it's coming from, it's not truly from the substance. It's not truly from the object. It's purely coming from the mind, imputed. You're getting it? Very good. Okay. Now, if you know this, why we delve around this topic? Do you remember why?
Third turning of the wheel.
Third turning.
Say it again.
Third turning of the wheel.
Third turn of the wheel. Very good. Okay. So third turn of the wheel is the interpretation, the Buddha's own interpretation of as to how the first teaching and the second teaching, second turn of the wheel of Dharma, first turn, these two don't contradict. Buddha interpreted. You getting it? Okay. How the Buddha interpreted is that, okay, now let's say there will be a Vaishali and Bodhisattva Paramartha Samudgata. Bodhisattva Paramartha Samudgata stood up and asked the Buddha. So first turn of the wheel of Dharma, you said what? Hey, Four noble truths exist truly, and then the second turn of Dharma, you said nothing exists truly. So if you keep these two teachings as literal, then there's obvious contradiction. So you bring the omniscient mind, omniscient one. There should be no contradiction there. So how can we understand these two teachings without contradiction? Without contradiction, right? Then the Buddha gave the answer. So that answer, how the Buddha gave the answer? Okay, now you already know the answer, right? The Buddha said that first turn of the wheel of Dharma, when I said that the Four Noble Truths exist truly, I mean the other powered nature and the thoroughly established nature. In the first turn of the wheel of Dharma, when I said the Four Noble Truths exist truly, I meant the other powered nature and the thoroughly established nature to exist truly. Second turn of the wheel of Dharma, when I said that nothing exists truly, I meant
imputed.
Nothing imputed nature should exist truly. Right? So this is how the Buddha interpreted his own first two teachings. That interpretation came to be known as third turn of the wheel of Dharma, and that is meant for Chitta-matra philosophers, not to the Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, and the Madhyamikas. Vaibhashika and Sautrantikas, they are very happy. First, turn of the wheel of Dharma, Buddha said the Four Noble Truths exist truly. They are very happy, they left. Then the Madhyamikas and the Chitta-matras, they are left. And second turn of the wheel of Dharma, Buddha said nothing exists truly, and Madhyamikas, they are very happy, they left. Right? Then the Chitta-matras are left. Right? So for them, then the Buddha taught the third turn of the wheel of Dharma, said that don't worry. First turn of the wheel of Dharma, when I said if the Four Noble Truths exist truly, I meant thoroughly established nature and the other power nature to be truly existent. Right? Whereas second turn of the wheel of Dharma, when I said nothing exists truly, I meant nothing imputed nature exists truly. Right? This is how the Buddha interpreted. Then this came to be known as the Chitta-matra's philosophy. You getting it? Good. Okay. So this completes the three the terms of will of dharma. 3 terms of will of dharma. Yes.
So when did he teach Tantra?
Okay, this is a good question. Tantra part. Say the Buddha's teachings can be classified into 2, Sutra system and the Tantra system. So what we're discussing here is predominantly Sutra system, and whereas Tantra, this is something which the Buddha taught exclusively to only selected disciples. Exclusively to selected disciples. Say the Theravada teachings, now known as the Theravada teachings, they are the teachings which the Buddha gave publicly. And the minor teachings, which we are going to study about emptiness and so forth, about bodhicitta and so forth, these are given to more, say the smaller audience who are keen to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And just imagine if there are 1,000 people, say all seeking some form of spirituality, tell me which would be the majority who seek personal liberation or who seek total Buddhahood for all beings? Which would be majority? What do you think? Personal liberation. So therefore, the teaching meant for personal liberation, that was what the Buddha taught in a massive scale. Massive scale. Whereas the people who seek liberation for, say, the Buddhahood for all beings, number of people is less. So for them, the Buddha taught the minor teachings, but it is, the smaller audience. Then Tantra, within this group who seek Buddhahood for all beings, only out of 1 million, to speak very honestly, out of 1 million, maybe 100, handful of people, they are highly qualified, right? With the sharpness of the intelligence, and dedication and so forth. So refined people are so less. So only to these very selected people, number of people, then the Tantra is taught. So there is no, it's not that Buddha went there, people gathered, Buddha taught Tantra. It never happened like this. It is more like, for example, say in Amaravati. How many of you been to Amaravati? Amaravati, there's one place in the Andhra Pradesh. So there, the Buddha taught Shirikala Tantra. So you imagine, when the Buddha taught Shirikala Tantra, it was not to a huge audience. It's just a very selected 1 or 2 audience. Very brilliant and extremely dedicated, refined, the people. Only to these people, the Buddha taught Shirikala Tantra. When the Buddha taught Shirikala Tantra, there, simultaneously Buddha was teaching Heart Sutra in Rajgir. Buddha was teaching Heart Sutra in Rajgir. Simultaneously in Amaravati, the Buddha was teaching Shirikala Tantra.
How could it be simultaneously at 2?
Simultaneous.
How could that happen?
So, okay, this is the example which we gave yesterday. This morning. The moon and the reflection in the moon. Right? Omnipresent. Right? Okay. So for this, again, how can I know that such things possible? Even these questions can be asked. You're getting it? Even these questions can be asked. But be very discreet. Don't ask this to any people. I went to Vajradadu and he said that you can ask all these questions. You ask any people, right? Buddhists, Christians, Muslims, and they will know. Either they will say you are arrogant or you are what? Heretic, right? So be very discreet who to ask this question. You're getting it? So omniscience is possible, omnipresence is possible. So this all explained on the basis of what stops us from achieving the omnipresence and omniscience? Cognitive obscuration. What exactly is cognitive obscuration? Whose job is that? Okay, yeah, right? So this is all connected. You're getting it? Shamji, you're getting it? All these questions, they're connected with the cognitive obscurations. Beautiful explanations are there, right? It's not that, okay, the moment you ask these complicated questions, you're not allowed to ask, you're a heretic, you are questioning the Buddha, you're questioning the God. No, there are answers, right? For this,
Sorry, how many direct disciples did Buddha have, any idea?
for
Direct disciples, meaning who, how many years?
okay, so basically the Buddha's biography we can be thought of in two ways. There are two biographies. One is the historical biography and the other one is the actual biography. Historical biography is what the ordinary people can understand. Historically speaking, the Buddha went there, so what I'm talking now, the Buddha giving teaching in Rajgir, simultaneously giving Shri Kalachakra Tantra in the what? Amravati, right? So this you will not find in the historical account. You're getting it? Historical account. So in actuality, the Buddha's innumerable direct disciples. And it's not just imagination. It's just not just say exaggeration. This is a fact because the Buddha can manifest in innumerable forms simultaneously. Right? Okay.
The tantric teachings, so they are not classified under the three turning rules.
Okay. Say the three turning rule of Dharma. That is more from the Sutra point of view.
Okay.
Sutra point of view classification, but the Tantra way does it fit there? So a mention you find in the third turning rule of Dharma, particularly the clear-eyed mind. Clear mind. When the question was asked by the one of the Bodhisattvas about the clear-eyed mind, right? Then the clear-eyed mind. Clear-eyed mind, yeah. And what exactly is the clear-eyed mind? You have to visualize. No. Again, all these explanations are there. Not just explanation, something which we can empirically feel. For that we have to grow, Okay, so
small query, may be obvious, but then from a Madhyamika perspective, even other powered nature and thoroughly established nature do not exist truly.
Okay, that's good. So the second turning rule of Dharma said, nothing exists truly.
So that is
who is the target audience? Madhyamika. Right? So they had already left. Right? Okay, so for them, nothing really exists truly. So this, say the Svatanta Madhyamika, who says that the difference between the flower and the rosary, the mala, this difference is coming from imputation, coming from the subject. This is how the subjectivity is introduced. And then Chitta Mantra, it becomes even more subtle, that nothing really exists externally. Right? Everything is just like a dream coming from your mind. This is another version of subjectivity. Then Madhyamika comes, that even the dreaming mind also does not exist objectively. Yet it does exist. It does exist, but it does not exist objectively, it does not exist truly. Right? There comes the Madhyamika. Okay, God.
Is the mind only school is
Chitta Matra. Chit is the mind. Matra. Chit Matra, mind only. Chit, yeah.
A naive question, Geshe. I was thinking that in all these traditions, because they used to have debates and there is a hierarchy as well, as you mentioned, by Bhashika to Prasangika and Prasangika Madhyamika. So Prasangika Madhyamika in their debates and in their logic would have defeated the Chitta Matrins.
Okay, this is interesting.
So my question is, if the Chitta Matrins couldn't defend their stance,
position,
then ultimately the most subtle philosophy belongs to Prasangikas. So then, why didn't they accept that?
So then Chitta Matra is automatically for the Prasangika, then Chitta Matra will be empty, Chitta Matra has to be
my
empty.
question is, once it is established, like it cannot be defeated, that truth, then that's the truth. Like...
What, Chitta Matra's philosophy is established, is one is saying?
No. When Prasangikas...
Prasangikas one is established?
Defeat, as in debates, when their...
school still exists.
No, as in, then why didn't Chitta Matrins accept the Prasangika point of view?
Okay.
When what Chitta Matrins are expounding has been proven negated by Prasangikas. So then Because Prasangikas are the most
Okay,
subtle.
Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics. People do they study Newtonian physics now?
Yes.
Why? Quantum physics already came. Why are they studying Newtonian physics? Huh?
It's useful. Actually. It's useful actually.
Richard? Newtonian physics is studied nowadays? Quantum physics studied, not studied? Why do you have to now why the Newtonian physics now merge with the quantum physics? Why not? Still we study Newtonian physics. Right? Studying Newtonian physics, this will be like a stepping stone to the quantum physics. Studying Chittamatra philosophy, right? Now today, I would say that Aranigarjuna, 1st century AD, Acharya Chandrakriti, which century? 7th century AD. Acharya Chandrakriti, 7th century AD. Bodhisattva Shantideva, 8th century AD. Right? Okay. So Aranigarjuna already came 1st century AD. You're getting it? And at the time Acharya Chandrakriti, still they were extremely brilliant scholars advocating Chittamatra philosophy. Right? And it's not that what we study is that Chittamatra is lower, Madhyamika is higher, within Madhyamika, Prasanga is higher. We already have a set thing because of the very refined scholars there. But at the time, those days, right? It's not that you cannot easily prove, right? Chittamatra, oh, you wasn't wrong, come, I will prove you, It's not that easy. You're getting it? Say 7th century AD, Acharya Chandrakriti following Prasangic philosophy and Acharya Chandragomi following Chittamatra philosophy. Two of them debated for 7 years. Right? Debated for 7 years is not easy. Both are very defined scholars. Right? Okay. So say for example, Chittamatra advocate may be somebody who is, motivation speaker, a great orator, and the Prasangika philosopher may have a brilliant mind, but may not be able to articulate so well, right? So then the Chittamatra philosopher will have more followers, right? And these followers will say that Madhyamika is nihilism, right? So at the moment, we are studying this more objectively. Very lucky that we are into this kind of system where we see all these traditions objectively, and then eventually we come to learn that, okay, yes, Chittamatra is like the stepping stone for the Madhyamika. Right? Okay. So what happened was that, yes.
All these great scholars and philosophers have discovered so many things. Was it through their meditative states or through
this is a good question.
reason?
This is a very good question. In fact, all these philosophies were originally taught by the Buddha himself. Buddha himself taught this. And then the same thing in the context of the time, in the context of the particular locality, then people try to interpret it, make it, understandable. Otherwise, the basic system, engine is the same. But taught by the Buddha himself. It's not that, Buddha himself taught it, then they practice it, they experience it, and then they share with the students.
So, we are just, learning the words, that's all.
Oh, no.
They must have...
No. Don't see that they and we. Right? We are going to be the one who's going to remove these mental defilements and experience, wow, everything's Chittamatra. Right? Everything's just mind. No. Even the mind doesn't exist truly. Everything is empty of true existence. We will experience it. And guaranteed is a matter of, if you can dedicate it very systematically, study very systematically, guaranteed that in this very life you will understand it. You will experience it. Guaranteed.
This very retreat you are saying.
No, I don't know. That depends. That, even if somebody forced me to sign it, I cannot sign this. But in this life, if you are very consistent, very systematically, if you study, reflect and meditate, you will experience it, guaranteed.
But these teachings were written down at those days.
Yes, in fact, the written happened. The Buddha's teachings during the councils happened. 3 councils. The first council, second, third. During the third council, then the teachings of Buddha, they were started to be inscribed, written. That is, there may be about like 500, 600 years after the Mahaparinirvana of Buddha. Not 600, maybe like the 200 years, 100, 200 years after. Yeah, first century, around first century. So there's a little discrepancy in terms of the dates. Yeah.
The Tantra system of thought is referred to as Vajrayana, right?
Yes. Vajrayana, Tantrayana, Mantrayana, they all mean the same. Yeah. Okay. So now, going back to the main point. So from this, another point is that if this is the teaching, the 3 turnings wheel of Dharma taught by the Buddha, His Holiness the Dalai Lama puts it so beautifully, saying that the first turning wheel of Dharma lays the ground for us, lays the ground, and then lays the ground of how to see that samsara operates and how we can undo samsara. So that is what you learn from the first turn wheel of Dharma. And then, first wheel of Dharma, what's the subject matter? What's the subject matter of the first wheel of Dharma? Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths, and then the Four Noble Truths exist truly. Right? So that's characteristics. So in terms of the subject matter, we can say the Four Noble Truths. What are the Four Noble Truths? Truth of suffering, truth of cause of suffering, truth of cessation suffering, truth of path leading to the cessation. That is what we have to have on our fingertips. Truth of the suffering, truth of the cause of suffering, truth of the cessation of suffering, truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. These 4 things are Four Noble Truths. Now, tell me, if you're really interested, of the 4, if you are to choose something, which will you say? The first one is the reality, that I'm just in miseries. This is reality. And then you explore what is the cause of the miseries. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena arise from the causes. So what are the causes? You're looking for the second turn of dharma. Third turn of dharma is the cessation. Cut the cause, eradicate the cause, and the suffering stops. Cessation of suffering and its causes. Right? So what makes you achieve this is through following the path. Okay, these are Four Noble Truths. Of the Four Noble Truths, just hypothetically, if somebody is to tell you that choose one, what will you choose?
First.
Suffering. You want suffering? No, you don't choose. You already have it.
Third one.
No, if you are given a choice, you choose only one.
Third. Fourth.
No, think of all 4. Think of all the 4. Think of all the 4 and choose one. Don't just the path.
Third.
First, what is reality? The truth of the suffering.
No. Think very carefully. What is suffering? Number 2, cause of suffering. Number 2, 3 is the freedom from suffering and its causes. Number 4, path leading to the freedom.
Third.
No. If there's only one thing that you have to choose, what will you choose?
Third.
Causes of suffering.
If you are to choose one, right? You choose one?
Third.
Third. Fourth. Okay, fourth. First you don't have to choose, we already have it. Alright. So this choice we have to give to the Buddha, not to us. Because we are already expert in this. Right? We are so rich. We don't have to choose, right? You have to choose something which we don't have. Right? Third. Fourth. Nita was the one who right from the beginning said third. Right? No? Okay, fourth. Third. Okay.
Nobody has taken second, so I'll take second.
Okay. Say the first and second we are already expert. We don't need to choose. We already have them, right? And we are so tired of them, right? Being very tired, we can do Vajradadu, right? Okay, we don't want that. Okay. Now the fourth one is the path. Still, we don't get the goal. Goal is number 3. You're getting it? Number 3. So what is this goal? That we aspire, that everybody aspires. That in great detail is explained in the second turning wheel of Dharma. The final goal everybody is seeking, right? What exactly is nirvana? What exactly is enlightenment? That is in great detail explained in the second turning of the wheel of Dharma. Right? Okay. Then the next is, okay, I want to achieve this state of the freedom from suffering, the cessation of suffering, but how? Then the path, the fourth. The fourth one is the more detail explained in the third turning wheel of Dharma. This is beautiful. It's amazing.
The third turning.
You're getting it? So third turning has many aspects. One, to explain the Chittamatra philosophy. And third turning, I said that they are the 10 responses given by the Buddha to the 10 different questions. What we were talking about the Bodhisattva Paramartha Samudgata's the response given to his question. So that forms only one part of the third turning wheel of Dharma. You're getting it? Within the third turning wheel of Dharma, there are 10 sections. Within that, then about the clear-light mind, how to employ this clear-light mind to achieve the nirvana and Buddhahood. You're getting it? So that is explained in the third turning wheel of Dharma. So third turning wheel of Dharma is the extensive, the teaching on the truth of the path leading to the cessation. And second turning wheel of Dharma is the extensive teaching on
aspiration, goal.
Aspired goal. A detailed explanation of the goal. What is that goal? What exactly is nirvana? What exactly is Buddha? You're getting it? That is in great detail explained by the second turning wheel of Dharma. Okay. Okay, now we should be doing what is known as the 4 seals. Right? Okay. Now the point is that if we really want this, the freedom from suffering, cessation of suffering in its causes, and the path leading to cessation, where should we start? Where should we start from? This is the question. Right? We have to start somewhere. For that matter, we have to say the first we should have the aspiration. You agree with me now?
Yeah.
Right? In order to say, for example, okay, which is more rigorous, to become Prime Minister of India or the President of America, which requires more aspiration, determination?
President of America.
Okay, can you explain a little bit? I agree with you.
Because it's a superpower. and it's the top post.
Prime Minister of India is also same.
I think the President of America has more influence over.
Okay, do you know how one becomes a President of America? How one becomes a Prime Minister of India? Do you know the process?
Yeah.
You know so well how. Which requires more determination.
Actually, we cannot become President of America.
No, that's one thing. And the Americans cannot become the Prime Minister of India. That's same. That's both same. Tell me now, what's the difference? There's one difference.
Basically, an individual can aspire to become a US president by his sheer energy. I mean, he can nominate himself to become for the president's post.
That's true. Which requires a tremendous zeal. Which requires more zeal.
President of America.
How?
Because he has to reach to the population of entire Americans. While in democratic way of selecting a Prime Minister in India, you have to maybe 500 MPs.
We don't choose the Prime Minister directly.
We don't choose the
You
Prime Minister.
don't even require
Only
that.
500
No.
MPs.
Why the zeal is required? Why? For the President of America, why?
Because the direct election, people select him directly.
It's fine. Then, say like you can be like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, somebody is so loved by everybody, then you don't have any zeal, still you automatically born there.
Because first he needs to get elected even within his own party.
So what? So for that, why do we need the zeal? What is this?
It's a difficult and lengthy process.
Huh?
He has to convince the ordinary Americans.
How?
Through his power of expression.
Lot of energy is
appealing to
required.
their needs.
In what way?
Because Americans are already have the basic necessities. Here, if you give some gas connection and all,
Okay.
get the vote.
So, same. To become American president, you have to debate. You have to sit in the debate yourself. You agree with me or not? To become the Prime Minister of India, you don't have to sit for debate. Right? Same, if you are somebody who is influential, loved by your party members, right? Even though you don't debate anywhere, they will still appoint you as the Prime Minister. For example, I won't say the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji. He's amazing. I would say that he is one of the ideal, the pure person. I would say that.
Intellectual.
Not just intellectual, very pure. Very pure. This is my take. This is my personal take. Very pure. But if he is to fight for debates, he cannot. Guaranteed. Right? For the debates, so much of anxiety, stress, tension. Look at when the debates were happening in America. The presidents, the two candidates, Democrat and how much anxiety is there, right? So therefore, this kind of rigor is required. You're getting it? I don't know why I said this. Aspiration. You're getting it? Aspiration. Yes, so the aspiration. So there, we need to have a tremendous aspiration to achieve such a goal. Aspiration must be very strong. Without that aspiration, we cannot reach the air. You're getting it? So for that aspiration, from where do we have to start? This question. Right? We learn all these things theoretically. Not a question, we have to start somewhere. So for that, the thing is desire to reach the air. Desire to reach there, Bodhiswaha, that must be very strong with us. So within that, there are two categories. One, infinite happiness, and the freedom from suffering, which is easier to be achieved.
Freedom from suffering.
Freedom from suffering is easier to be achieved, followed by the infinite happiness too. You are getting it? So the desire to achieve the freedom from suffering is known as renunciation. Desire to achieve the infinite happiness is known as bodhicitta. You're getting it in loose sense. Now we'll go into the technicalities a little later. You're getting it? Okay, we'll stop here. Yata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Yata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swahatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Prostrations. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvadyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvaha. Okay. So the question is, where do we start? So this question. The goal from what we learned about the Buddha nature, we learned about the two goals. What are the two goals?
Desire to achieve freedom.
The goals. Desire is not the goal. The goal. Nirvana and Buddhahood. Okay, Nirvana and Buddha. These are the two goals. Now aspiration to achieve Nirvana, aspiration to achieve Buddhahood. Now we are becoming more clear. The desire to achieve Nirvana is known as renunciation. The desire to achieve Buddhahood is known as Bodhichitta. Okay, so this is what we have to learn now. And then the two desire. Look, so this is where we are now. The getting the complete form. Say the desire to achieve Nirvana is known as renunciation. The desire to achieve Buddhahood is known as Bodhichitta. Now with these two desires, what will help us accomplish the two goals? The wisdom of emptiness. Right? So finally these two desires, the desire or the aspiration to achieve Nirvana, we have to remove what? To achieve Nirvana, what should we remove? Afflictive obscurations. You're getting it? We have to remove the afflictive obscurations. To remove the afflictive obscurations completely, what should we remove? The final root. What is the final root? Self-grasping ignorance. We have to remove the self-grasping ignorance. And self-grasping ignorance, to remove that, what should we do? We have to introduce the light of the wisdom. So the wisdom of emptiness plays a very important role. And then the Buddhahood, the other one, the goal is Buddhahood, and the aspiration to become Buddha, the achieve Buddhahood is known as Bodhichitta. To achieve this the Buddhahood, what should we do? We should remove the cognitive obscurations. To remove the cognitive obscuration, what do we need to employ?
Compassion.
We need to employ wisdom. The same wisdom is to be employed. The desire is to achieve Buddhahood, grounded in compassion. So it's the same wisdom. Wisdom of emptiness is the one which cleanses our mental defilements. So therefore, the Buddha emphasized so much on the cultivating the wisdom, and the Acharya Dharmakirti in his text, Paramanavartika chapter 2, there he very clearly indicated that the compassion is so forth. In Tibetan, the two lines are Chamso Mo na Gemechi Shindu Niba Sarjuni. This is the Tibetan version. It says that the loving kindness and so forth, because that is not in opposition with ignorance, it cannot eradicate all the miseries. So because miseries are rooted to the ignorance. So we only through eradicating ignorance that we can eradicate the miseries. So although the loving kindness and so forth, they are very good practice, but to eradicate eradicate miseries, you have to eradicate the ignorance. For that only wisdom will help us. This is very important. Okay. So for that, we speak about, say, from this, now we solidify the two aspirations. Aspirations must be there. The two aspirations is to achieve Nirvana and to achieve Buddhahood. To achieve Nirvana is known as Renunciation. Okay, so now we have to start from there. Start from there, this aspiration. Renunciation. And oftentimes renunciation, people have, I'm sure we all have, these experiences. People have very naive understanding of renunciation. The moment you say go into the moment you go into say Buddhist, they say the centers, right? And people say that now you start going to Buddhist centers, right? Okay, now can we talk to you? So they see you as very different, right? So we're going for party, can you come? Right? Okay, these weird thoughts are created in the people's mind. So this is very important for us to know, because why this is coming, why such misconceptions are coming. And then even the people who go to Buddhism, what they do is that they start to say usually they come very nice, presentable. Then they start to lose interest in they're coming very presentably, right? Even the dresses that you have, say you cook your food, and the same hand your dress becomes the what do you call it? Towel. So this is how the Buddhists should be practicing, right? There's many people, they do like this. They lose, the girls, that usually they have the earrings and so forth. And then now lose interest, everything, dropped. And then usually comes very presentable or come very shabbily. Okay, this is the wrong impression. And this is wrong impression. People get wrong impression, right? So the point is that, why all these wrong impressions coming? Because of the concept of renunciation, right? They think that, oh, you're in the Buddhism, now you have renounced your good food, good house, you have renounced your good car, right? It's strange, you are into Buddhism, still you have iPhone X. Right? So you're not supposed to keep iPhone X if you're Buddhist. Right? All these naive thoughts are coming into being, all because of the concept of renunciation, misinterpretation of what renunciation is. As well, you're into Buddhism, then if you have iPhone 6 Plus, the person may think that if I ask him to change the mobile, he will change it, because he's not allowed to keep iPhone X. So these very strange concepts are there in the people's mind. This is not true, right? You can practice any spirituality. I cannot represent other religion, but Buddhism, guaranteed, right? You can practice the form of Buddhism. Okay, one thing that I will share with you is that, say, if you are a very refined practitioner, you can keep iPhone. What's wrong with it? You can have a good house. What's wrong with it? You can have Mercedes-Benz or what? Rolls-Royce. What else? BMW and what else?
Audi. Porsche.
Audi.
Bentley.
Bentley.
Volvo.
Volvo is nothing.
Volvo and Audi is
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, there's nothing wrong with these things. There's nothing wrong with these things. You getting it? It's all because of misconception coming up attached to the concept of renunciation, right? It's strange. This is what people say. So renunciation is the misinterpretation of what renunciation is. People get the feeling that, Buddhism means to renounce the world. No? Prince Siddhartha, he renounced the world. So this from there, then people started to have the misconception coming. The real meaning of renunciation is, okay, if you attach to any Dharma centers, say like Tibet House, or the Vajradhadu from Pune and Mumbai? Narimanji? Okay, say CKSL in Bangalore, Tushita, right? Say if you attach to any kind of Dharma center, how many of you went to Dharma center saying that I have so much happiness, I don't know how to get into happiness, please teach me how to get into happiness? How many of you went there to Dharma center with that thought? Nobody, right? You went there with, I have some problem, right? Please teach me how to get into my problem. This is how we went there. This is how we started. Because this is how we started, the renunciation is the beginning of the Buddhist practice. So renunciation is to renounce not your happiness, to renounce your miseries. Because you went there to ask, please teach me how to get out of my suffering. This is how we went there. We did not go there, please teach me how to get out of my extra salary. Right? Or the good car that I have. You don't need to learn. how to get rid of karma and these things. It's very easy. Right? We wanted to learn how to get rid of the suffering. So the renunciation, the meaning is to renounce your suffering. Don't forget it. This is weird, to renounce your suffering. Now, to renounce the suffering, right? Okay, this is usually the exercise that we do. This is extremely important. So whatever we try to learn, make sure that we, at least, we're convinced, whether experientially or intellectually, that we're convinced that, okay, what I'm learning, it makes sense to me. Okay, let's say, okay, I give a little bit of, say, there are many people from Mumbai, Pune, and where else? Delhi too. Otherwise, Mumbai and Pune. Okay, let's say that I want advice from you. I live in Delhi and I live on the third floor. Right? Okay, I live on the third floor and I need your advice. The problem is that I have asthma attack. Asthma because of the dampness in the house. Right? Because of the constant dampness in the house. I live on the third floor. Okay, I have the severe asthma problem. What advice would you give? Quick. Mumbai wala, Delhi wala, not Delhi wala, and the Pune wala.
I didn't get the question.
My question is that I live on the third floor in Delhi, and there's a severe dampness in the house, constant dampness in the house, because of which I have the asthma problem, and I don't want to suffer this asthma problem. So what advice would you give? Audrey?
Why don't you go to a dry
place? Change the flat?
No, come to a dry city, dry place.
Okay, come to a dry city, dry place. Okay. Shift to Pune. No, the Delhi wala don't give answer. Use or buy it or I get it free?
Dehumidifier.
No, do I have to buy it or you have to? I get it free. I have to buy it. Right? Okay, I have to buy it or seek donation from Geshe Dadu Center. Still, I have to buy it. So whatever is the case, I have to buy it or somebody has to give me, right? Dehumidifier. What else?
Move to the ground floor. Just check it if it's okay.
Say it again. Move to the ground floor. Yeah. Okay. Okay, move to the ground floor.
Maybe find the reason why there is so much of dampness in the house, and then move from there. Try find the solution once you know the reason why there is a dampness. There could be some kind of leakage or water. I mean, the dampness can be of multiple reasons. I'm not from Delhi, so I really don't know. If there is a dampness in my house, I'm sure there is because the first floor is leaking, because I stay on the ground. So, because of that, there is some dampness.
Okay. So we get many answers, right? So one is change the house. Change the house is very complicated. Again, I have to pay extra about like say 20,000 to the real estate people. What do you call these people?
Brokerage. For brokerage.
Brokers, right? Okay. And then to buy what? Dehumidifier? Yeah, I have to pay like another 20,000 or something, right? And then the people, they don't come, the Amazon people, right? Even if they come, again it may break, right? Again, I ask for the people to send the replacement or the workmen, whatever, laborers to work on this. Engineers, they don't come, they say kala ayenga. Okay, this is problem. And then go down to the what, basement? The ground floor, you said? Ground floor, it may be worse. From the ground there may be water coming in the air. Okay, so then finally the Vipinji said, Geshe, don't worry, right? Before you do any of these things, just check what is happening. Ye dharma hetu prabhava, right? We recite this mantra, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena, they arise from the causes. Check the cause. Why there's dampness here? Because you're on the third floor, you are not on the ground floor. Ground floor, the water may be coming from the ground, which is very complicated. But on the third floor, it's not coming from the ground. It must be some leakage, right? Not from the ground. So that is much easier. So check before you move, before you buy dehumidifier, right? Before you do anything, check the cause of the problem, right? But then I said, okay, Vipinji, thank you for that advice. Then I take Niraji with me. Then Niraji says, oh, there's a small crack here in the water pipe. Then he went to buy, then Surya went to buy the 20 rupees, what is it? M-seal. Right, with 20 rupees, Surya brought it, and then fixed it, finished. We don't have to change the flat. We don't have to buy the dehumidifier, right? So all the problems are solved. You're getting it? So therefore the point is that we seek, say, renunciation, to renounce your suffering. To renounce the suffering, we have to track the cause of the suffering and renounce the cause of suffering, right? Unless you renounce the cause of the suffering, there's no way by which your suffering will come to an end. Whatever treatment that you may apply, they all become symptomatic treatment. They are not the proper real treatment. They all become symptomatic treatment. Okay, so therefore, we need to look for what is the cause of the suffering. Tell me, what is the immediate cause of suffering? What is the immediate? Yes, Suryaji, what is the immediate cause of suffering?
Contaminated.
Contaminated. Okay, so now, so look, if you pay attention, what we have learned yesterday, everything is going to be moved here and there. You're getting it? So, immediate cause of suffering, okay, yes, that makes sense. To renounce suffering, I need to know how to renounce the causes of suffering. For that, I need to identify the cause of suffering. Immediate cause of the suffering is? Contaminated karmas. One, don't forget it. Now, the contaminated karmas, to renounce contaminated karmas, I have to identify the cause of the contaminated karmas. What are the cause of the contaminated karmas? Afflictions. Very good. You're getting it? This is how we have to understand under spirituality. We have to identify the afflictions. And to renounce the afflictions, we need to know what are the causes of the afflictions. What are they? Inappropriate attention. If you want to go into detail, then inappropriate attention. If you want to go a little shortcut, you can go into ignorance directly. So, what about the inappropriate attention? What are the causes of the inappropriate attention? Self-grasping ignorance. Very good. Okay. So this is how, if you really want to renounce the suffering, renunciation, the real meaning of renunciation is, right, say depending on what level. Initially we began by saying that I need to renounce. Say when you first come to the center, I want to renounce suffering, right? Now, then after coming to the center, don't remain there. I want to renounce suffering, I want to renounce suffering. Don't remain all the time. Don't remain suffering all the time. Suffering should grow. Keep growing. You go deeper. Then you must reach the depth, final root. Finally, after coming to the center, becoming well, say, educated in this procedure, then what should you renounce? Final cause of suffering. What is that? Self-grasping ignorance. So, after coming to the center, you'll be able to say that renunciation means to renounce the self-grasping ignorance. You're getting it? Okay, that becomes a very refined understanding of renunciation. Right? If somebody says renunciation means to renounce the suffering, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it does not tell you how and so forth. Whereas if you say renunciation is to renounce the self-grasping ignorance, you have touched the root. Right? That is the real understanding. Still, even more even more refined version of the renunciation is there. Right? Okay, that we have to understand it on the basis of the wisdom. Right? So real renunciation, absolute peace, where suffering is zero, that has to be experienced on the basis of experience of the emptiness. Right? So this we have to study. How? This is so precious, we have to deal with that. Okay. Now we see that to renounce, we come to realize that it is to renounce the ignorance. Finally, it is to renounce the ignorance. Then the ignorance, to renounce the subtlest ignorance, we have to renounce the grosser ignorance. right? To renounce this, for example, say to wash a cloth, first you have to remove the grosser dirts. And then we go to the subtler and subtler dirt to remove the subtler and subtler soil. Okay. Likewise, first we have to get rid of the grosser ignorance, and then we go to the subtler, and the subtlest one is the self-grasping ignorance. So what grosser levels of ignorance are there? Okay, for this the Buddha taught the three levels of ignorance, on the basis of what is known as the four seals of the Buddha's teachings. The four seals, S-E-A-L-S, four seals of the Buddha's teaching. Okay, out of the four seals, we see that the first three, they are related to the three levels of ignorance. First three, and the fourth one is the outcome of eradicating the ignorance. Right? First three is related to the three ignorance and eradication of the three levels of ignorance, and the outcome is stated in the fourth line. So what are the four seals? All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of suffering nature. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Okay, so this in this book, make sure that we we know these four lines by heart, right? By heart. Okay. Tomorrow morning, by heart. Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So this is so important, and you read this, reflect on these points. We see that there's nothing really religious about it. This is just all about common sense, and very profound common sense, the insight. Okay, so the three misconceptions or the ignorance. The first one is ignorance viewing impermanent phenomena as permanent. Ignorance viewing impermanent phenomena as permanent, number one. Number two is ignorance viewing suffering as happiness. Ignorance viewing suffering as happiness, number two. Number three, ignorance viewing selflessness, phenomena of selflessness as of selfhood. Ignorance viewing the phenomena of selflessness as of selfhood nature. These are the three levels of ignorance, and later on, if you want to learn more, if you want more divisions of the ignorance, then we can study the 5 levels of ignorance later on. Okay, the first one, ignorance viewing impermanent phenomena as permanent. One. Number two, ignorance viewing suffering as happiness. Number three, ignorance viewing selfless nature as of selfhood nature. Selfless nature as of selfhood nature. Selfless nature as selfhood. Selfhood. Okay, impermanent as permanent, suffering as happiness, selfless nature as of selfhood nature. Selfless nature as selfhood nature. Okay, now observe these 3 misconceptions you find in the first 3 lines of the 4 seals. All composite things are impermanent. Saying that nothing of the composite phenomena can be permanent, they are all impermanent. Then number 2 is all contaminated nature is of all contamination. What's the second line? All contaminated things are of suffering nature, or the nature of suffering. All contaminated things out of suffering nature. Meaning that whatever is contaminated, there's no happiness there. It's just this suffering. Number 2. Then number 3 is everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. So this third line speaks about the selfless nature. Selfless nature. While things are the nature of the selflessness, we see them as of selfhood. Okay. So we have to study these 4 first. These 3, then plus, once you understand these 3 so well, particularly the third one so well, then we will experience the 4th one. What's the 4th line? Transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Then you transcend sorrow. That is the meaning of the renunciation, to renounce your sorrow. Right? To renounce your sorrow. At that point, you experience the ultimate peace. This is what everybody is seeking. Okay. So tell me, say, these 4 lines, how complicated do you think these 4 lines are? A little complicated? To know this is a little complicated, right? Okay, so to what extent you understand the Buddha's teaching depends on how you are able to see all these different teachings of the Buddha to mean the same thing. You're getting it? For example, what we're learning here is the 4 seals. Then we all this morning we discussed about the 4 noble truths. And in the Heart Sutra, there's a mention of the 12 links of dependent origination. And then there is one sutra known as the Satipatthana Sutra, the 4 mindfulnesses. Right? 4 mindfulnesses. And the Eightfold Noble Path. Right? And then the teaching which we find in this book, which says, Buddhas do not wash away wash the negativities of the beings. Nor the Buddha, nor he removes the miseries of sentient beings like plucking the thorns. Nor does he transfer his spiritual realizations on the beings. It is only through giving the teaching on suchness that the beings are liberated. So these all, once you get the full picture of the Buddha's teaching, then you read any part of the teaching, you say, okay, so this falls under this category. You see that they are all connected. You're getting it? Okay. So first, the reflection of impermanence. This is so important. Of the 4 seals, the first one is all composite things are impermanent. So now composite, you know what composite is. Anything which is made of, composite meaning, anything which is made of physical parts or mental parts. Anything which is made of physical parts or mental parts. Any questions? If you any question, I'm not asking any question related to some other unrelated things about what we are discussing. I said the composite things are things which are composed of physical parts or mental parts. Any questions?
What are the mental parts?
Okay, what are the mental parts? So physical parts, you know, for example, this flower. We see that this flower is consisted of atoms. So the atoms are the physical parts of this flower, and the atoms are constituted of electrons, protons, neutrons, and so forth. So we see that these small particles which constitute this flower, they become the physical parts. Now for the mind, mental parts, what do we have for the mental parts? So our mind, for example, we speak about today I'm very happy. Today my mind is very happy. So today, what do you mean by today? Today means 24 hours. 24 hours my mind is happy. So 24 hours my mind is happy means the first hour mind is happy, second hour mind is happy, third hour mind is happy. How many seconds are there? How many parts are there? 24 parts. So these are the first part of the mind, happy, second part of the happy mind, third part of the happy mind. We see that in 24 parts. First part again first hour mind has 60 minutes. The first minute mind, second minute mind. So this is how we break the mind. These are known as the mental parts. You're getting it? Okay. Anything which is composed of physical parts or mental parts, they are known as composite phenomena or compounded phenomena. Anything which is compounded phenomena should necessarily be impermanent. They cannot be permanent. Right? So my body is composed of parts, my mind is composed of parts, and I am composed of parts, and this house is composed of parts, and Pune is composed of parts, universe is composed of parts. So anything which is composed of parts should necessarily be impermanent in nature. Okay, this is very important. Okay, now so what do we know of so all composite things? What about non-composite things? What non-composite things can you think of? What non-composite things can you think of? Peace. Space. Okay, space. Space is non-composite. Okay, this is a very important point. Space is non-composite. Okay, anyone who likes to explain how the space is non-composite?
We cannot point to a part.
You're pointing right now. You cannot point. You're pointing, right? You're pointing to space, or you're not. You're pointing non-space, right? So the Chaitanya is so innocently pointing to space and saying that you cannot point. Right? Okay. So say, what do you mean by space? What is that space? The space between two of us?
Yes.
Yes, what do you? Do you know this? Can you see this space?
No.
You cannot see that. You cannot see that. So, would you freely move your hands in between us?
Yes.
Because how do you know that there's a space there?
Yeah, because my hand cannot reach you.
Okay, you check it with your hands first. Is there space or not? Right? You're guaranteed that there's a space there, and then you will freely move your hand. Right? You don't check if there's a space. Right? So, which means that how do you know that there's a space between me and you? If we don't have the eyes, can I know this? I cannot know this. Only with eyes we can know this. You getting it? We can know this. So eyes can see this space. What eyes can see is not composite space. Is not non-composite space. You getting it? What our eyes can see, validly see, they are all composite phenomena. What our senses, our five senses can perceive, they are all validly perceived. They are all the composite space, composite things, impermanent phenomena, right? Okay, I know. So this is what I'm expecting. Therefore, deliberately created this, right? Okay. So for this, we have to know the space. There are two kinds: composite space and non-composite space. Compounded space, uncompounded space. Compounded, composite mean the same. So space, there are two kinds: composite space and non-composite space, right? Okay, this is very important. This is extremely important concept, right? We have to understand it. The space which our eyes can see, this is known as composite space. This is impermanent. Don't forget it. This is impermanent. Yes.
So, I'm not understanding how our eyes are seeing space. We are inferring, because you are at a distance, so I'm inferring that there is space between us.
How do you know that I'm at a distance?
I'm seeing you, and from that I'm inferring.
No, I can be very close to you, I can be far away. So okay, you are far away from me, you are very near me. This distinction you are able to make. How do you make this distinction? What helps you to make this distinction?
I can see no obstruction.
Uh-huh.
I can see no obstruction.
Eyes.
All right.
Between you and me.
So what makes you see no obstruction? Your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, your eyes. So what your eyes can validly see, they are all impermanent phenomena. Whatever label you may give, but no obstruction or whatever, that is known as impermanent phenomena. You getting it? Even this space between us, even this space we can divide them into pieces, right? So it may be, say 8 feet, right? 8 feet between us, first feet, second feet, third feet, we divide like this. So we can make it smaller. It's made of parts, in that sense, Right? Now, first, what we need to keep in mind is that the space between me and you, this is something my eyes can see. How many of you agree with me? The space between you and me is something that my eyes can see. That space is known as impermanent space or composite space. Don't forget it. And how and so forth. Keep these questions for the time being aside for the time being. Now we are interested to know non-composite space. You're getting it? Okay. Ready? Okay. Okay, tell me, what is in my left hand? A rose flower. What is in my right hand? Nothing is there. Absence of flower is there?
Yes, yes.
My right hand, does it have flower or no flower? No flower is there? Okay, no flower is there. No flower is existent. No flower means absence of flower is existent. Right? Something is there. Absence of flower is something. It exists.
No, but it is, nothing is there. I mean, why bring flower?
No, I did not say flower. I said absence of flower.
Absence of flower.
Absence of flower is there, right?
Everything.
Everything is there. Absence of sham is also there. Right? My hand, absence of sham, absence of surya, absence of niraj. Everything is in my hand. Yes, no? Right? So many things are in my right hand. Yes, no? Okay.
Not there.
Huh?
So many things are not there actually.
Not there? Yes, they both are there. Because is Shamji in my right hand? No. It's not there. Absence of that is there? Yes. Right?
I think Geshe, you are talking as if something is there when you are actually using
No,
the
no.
word nothing.
I didn't say anything. I simply asked you a question and I gave the answer according to what you said. My question, what is in my right hand? You said nothing. Okay. Shubhangiji is there? No. Absence of Shubhangiji is there in my right hand?
Yes.
right. You said it. I didn't say this, right? Now you don't blame me. I didn't say, you said it. Absence of that is there in my hand. Okay. Right. The absence. Absence. Right? Okay, now apply this to this thing, the flower. Okay. What is my left hand?
Flower.
Rose flower. Right? So, this rose flower is one thing or many things? One thing is the rose flower. Okay. Is this Mr. Sureshi? No, absence of Mr. Sureshi is also there. Right? This flower is also the absence of Mr. Sureshi. Absence of Niraji. You're getting it? So we see that how many things are there? If this is how we understand it, innumerable things are there. With one object, there are innumerable things. Okay, very complicated. Right? Very complicated. Don't worry, I'll make it very easy. Right? Sometimes we feel so overwhelmed. I didn't know that, there's such complicated things. Right? Okay, don't worry. Okay. Now, so for this, okay. How many things are there in my right hand? One thing. What is that? Rose, the flower. Tell me, the color of the flower is in my hand? Color of the flower is in my hand? No? Yes. It's not in my hand. Okay. If you cannot say yes, please don't go out of Vajradhara center. People may think that they went there and he became crazy. Right? Now they're saying that there's no flower, the color of the flower is not there. Luckily for Richard, there's a mother here as a witness. Otherwise her father will be worried. What happened to my daughter? Okay. So, now tell me, the flower is in my hand? Yes. And the color of the flower is also in my hand? Yes. Right? Shape of the flower is in my hand? Yes. Okay. Color of the flower and the flower. The flower, is this the color of the flower or not? Just speak your mind, right? I will not ask you why. Right? If I don't worry, he may ask me why. I may have the answer. I may not have the answer. Don't worry. What is in my hand? Flower. And the flowers in my hand?
Yes.
The color of the flowers also in my hand?
Yes.
Yes. No. The color of the flower, is that in my hand? Yes, of course. Yeah. No, the color of the flower is in my hand, right? Okay. The flower, is that the color of the flower?
No. No.
Huh?
No. No.
What is the question?
The flower, is it the color of the flower?
No.
Is it the same thing?
No, no.
No, it isn't.
Huh? The flower, is it the color of the flower?
No.
Okay, how many say no? Raise your hands. How many say yes?
The color of the rose flower.
The rose flower, is this the color of the rose flower? Okay, how many say I am a little confused? I never asked this question before. Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Are you your hands?
No.
Are you your hands?
No.
Do you have hands?
Yes.
I have hands, but I'm not hands. This flower has color, but it's not color. You getting it? This flower has color, but it's not color. Okay. Which means the color and the flower, these two are not one. Two things. If there's two things, then there should be two things in my hand.
Getting crazy.
In that case, you have innumerable
Yes, it's the part. Huh?
In that case, you have innumerable things in your hand.
No. So I am not saying anything from my side. I'm simply imitating what you said. Right? So if you say there are two things, I say there are two things in my hand, then you have to say yes. It's not my view. It's your view. Right? Okay. Now, how to reconcile this? How many things are in my hand? One. Right? What is that thing in my hand? Flower. Not the color of the flower? No. Color of the flower is not in my hand. It is there. Okay, the color of the flower, these two are different?
Yes.
This is different. Different means two or more. Different means not one. Two or more, right? Two or more means there are two things, minimum. So how many things are in my hand? One or two? Two. Don't go out of Bodhichitta. Right? Then I will request the Pritiji to give only one bread to Shibungaji and tell her these two breads. Right? Give only one bread. Pritiji only give one bread to the Shibungaji and say that these two breads. Right? Okay. So there's a problem. If you say one, there's a problem. Then the color of the flower both are there. If you say two, there's a problem. How to reconcile this? You getting it? What do you do now?
The flower is made of parts.
That's easy. That I agree with you. So I'm simply worried about how many things are there in my hand. This is my question.
One.
Not two.
No.
Okay, what is that thing? What is that one thing? Flower. What's the color of the flower? No, does it exist or not?
Yes.
It exists. Where? In my hand.
Yes.
So there are two things.
No.
Color of the flower and the flower. What is that thing which is not there?
The color of the flower is part of the flower actually.
I know that. I know that. My question is whether these two are one or two.
One.
Oh, these two are one.
The second thing.
The flower is the color of the flower is the flower.
No. One thing.
So these are different. Okay.
One thing contains the second thing.
You also get one.
Yes, Shyamji, please tell me. Yes.
So one thing contains the second thing.
One thing?
Contains.
Yes, agree with you. My question is, are these two one or different?
There is only one.
But there is only one.
Yeah.
So the color of the flower is also flower.
No.
Yes, no.
The color of the flower is part of the flower.
I know that, but is that the flower or not?
Well, if I replace flower with orange, then the color of orange will be orange.
Okay, deliberately Sumit is making more complicated, right? He will say that then it's orange and you can extract orange juice. He's going to say that. Deliberately trying to make this complication. Okay, now how to resolve this problem? If you say one, there's a problem. If you say two, there's a problem. Both, there's a problem. How to reconcile this? For that matter, you have to know what is known as concept of the entities and isolates. You have to know this concept. Only if you know this concept, this problem will be resolved. Otherwise, this problem will forever remain. You cannot resolve this problem no matter what. Right? Entities and isolates. The concept of entities and isolates.
How do you spell it?
ENT.
Entity